Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest from Nachtblut, Vanitas, out October 2nd on Napalm Records. This album has 11 tracks, 51 minutes in length, and this is the band's 6th full-length studio album. This album has a very interesting structure. The album starts off with Veritas, an instrumental intro track that bleeds into Vanitas. The two are really 1A and 1B. Then the album closes off with the longest track on the record, and it's really this over-the-top cinematic epic track. There's a lot of similarities between how the album starts and how the album finishes. Not necessarily from a track construction or soundscape, but definitely from the atmosphere that the two have. Those atmospheres are very similar, they're eerie similar to each other, so there's this sense almost of going full circle on from how the album starts to how the album finishes. In between, you have a lot of volatility, it's a little bit chaotic. This is not an album that offers you a linear path from point A to point B. You're going to find that path, but the path is kind of covered in dust and spiderwebs. You kind of have to clear it up and find your way through it. So it's very chaotic in between the beginning and the end. And that is because of the soundscape of the record. The songs are very eclectic. They have a lot of different influences at play. You're going to get folk influences, industrial, electronic, symphonic, melodic tracks, heavier tracks. There's a little bit of everything squeezed into this record, almost each song pulling you in a different direction as far as the soundscape is concerned. What's gluing this album together, it's really that overall atmosphere that the record has. Sure, there are a couple of songs where that atmosphere kind of dissipates a little bit. The sky becomes brighter, the dark clouds move away, but overall, this album has this really dark blanket, this gothic dark blanket that covers the whole record and keeps you glued to every single song. Even those ones that offer you a little bit of a brighter sound or a brighter mood, it's just around the corner, the darkness comes right back in and you're back to where you started. So I love the atmosphere that the album has because it's that one point of commonality across almost every single track and allows the diversity of sound to be what it is on this record. Now within that sound there are two elements that I have to mention because I feel like they're very important. The first one is the guitars. I love how clear, how crisp, how well defined the guitar sound is on this album. Regardless if the guitars sound heavy or melodic or almost non-existent on some tracks, that's almost irrelevant. It's how clear, how crisp, how crystalline their sound is. Really penetrating, driving the sound through and becoming very consistent in their approach and how they come across throughout the record. Regardless of the variations of volume or sound or presence, the way they come across is always in a very distinct way. And I love that about the guitars on this record. The other element to mention is the overall orchestration of the record because that atmosphere that I mentioned earlier is really driven by that orchestration. Wonderful job throughout this record. Really allowing the album to have two dynamics as far as the orchestration elements are concerned, which is atmosphere and melody. And sometimes the pendulum goes towards the atmosphere more, sometimes towards the melody, but always weaving these two elements, coexisting, the duality of these two elements throughout the record is magnificent. Incredible job to really elevate this record, to make the songs feel bigger, larger, that they're being played at a much bigger stage, giving them so much life and energy. Really a key element throughout this record, and in order to make this record sound the way it does and feel the way it does. The vocals, what can I say? Askeroth nails it. I love his versatility, I love his delivery, and I love the ability that it has to change his approach depending on what the track calls for. This is an album that musically, like I said, is very diverse, and you almost need the vocals to be the same way. You need them to adapt to where the songs are going, to the mood of the song, and really enhance the overall atmosphere that the tracks have. I love the changes mid-song, changing from verses to chorus, different approach, different delivery, changing from song to song depending on what the overall mood of the track is, going with a different style of vocals, different delivery. I just love everything surrounding the vocals on this record, and the diversity that they have allows them to be very cohesive and very constant all the way through. They changing up and down, but the quality of the vocals never changes, regardless if you're getting clean vocals or harsh vocals. Overall, I really love this album. I love the soundscape that it creates. I love the cinematic approach that they put into the overall sound and the atmosphere that this album holds. And it's just an incredible record top to bottom. This is an album that has 11 singles. There's no skippable song. It's not top heavy. It's really well balanced as far as quality is concerned. And like I said, it has 11 singles. That tells you the quality of the material on this album. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I want to start off with Vanitas. Heavy guitar driven sound. and the keyboard melody is just mesmerizing. And it weaves in and out. It comes in and out. Sometimes more present, then moves into the background, then it disappears, then it comes back again. But it's like a fragrance. It's always there. You could always feel it. You could always smell it. The overall orchestration in general on this track is just outstanding. I love it. The vocals are dark and cavernous. That's how they come across. And that adds a lot of presence. Not necessarily adding heaviness to the track, but it definitely adds a lot of presence. It adds an overall dark atmosphere to the song. A song that already had that dark atmosphere, the vocals really infuse that, because the guitars are a little bit heavier on this song, and then the way the vocals come in even add a little bit more to that volume that the guitars already have. The chorus is super hooky, super catchy, a track that has as much of beauty and melody as it does of haunting darkness. There's this coexistence of these two worlds really fighting for supremacy throughout the track. Next, Nur in der Nacht. The song has a fun sound to it, perhaps one of the most fun sounding songs on the album. It has a really light-hearted approach to it, and a lot of it comes from the keyboard melody that it has. It really has this 80s synthesizer vibe feel to it. But overall, definitely a song that's dynamic, a song that's interesting, that's, like I said, lively. It almost feels like a Lord of the Lost track. I was surprised that Chris Harms was not included in this song because he's a guest vocalist on a different track. And I felt like this track had so much of him, so much of Lord of the Lost, that fun, goth, dark vibe to it. So I was a little bit surprised that he wasn't in it. Perhaps it was too much of a shoe-in to have him in it, and that's why they decided not to have him on this song. But it's a fun track, it's melodic, it's bright, easy to digest. Last but not least, Gengan Di Gata, my favorite song on the album. This track is tremendous. I love this song. Driven guitar sound. The guitars on this track just push this song forward. The vocals at the beginning feel, specifically in the verses, they feel like they're coming from the depths of hell. And they just have so much strength, but they're coming from deep within the track. They're almost trying to climb their way out of the song. The chorus sees an increase in melody. It becomes very cinematic. The orchestration behind it adds to that cinematic aspect, adds to that cinematic atmosphere. The vocals become a lot more haunting, clear, not that cavernous feel anymore. They don't feel like they're coming from deeper in the track. They feel like they finally reached the pinnacle, they reached the light, and you get that feeling from it. The chorus just becomes gigantic, larger than life. You will spend this whole song during the verses waiting for that chorus to come in, because the chorus is just bombastic, over the top, magnificent. The symphonic orchestration that closes off this song is brilliant. It really encompasses everything that you got from the choruses up to that point, and then it just gets expanded throughout the track, because you don't feel it in the verses. It's not there in the verses. It only really comes in. The presence is only really felt in the chorus. But then towards the end, they bring it all out, expand upon it, really makes the track feel longer, bigger, and it takes everything that the chorus had to offer, and it now is just this really spread across the whole song. I love the soundscape of this track. I love how it's constructed, and my God, this chorus is magnificent. This is it. Nachtblut, Vanitas, out October 2nd on A&P Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.